All right. So it is July 3rd, and so I'm doing the trade recap for today. This is the last trading day of the week. We had a short trading week because of July 4th, and I believe the markets actually closed early today. But either way, I trade the open, so who cares? Usually out by 10:30 in the morning. But, we always start with Forex Factory. So let's take a look at the news we had today. So the red folder news we had was NFP. So we had average hourly earnings, we had non-farm employment change, unemployment rate, and so again, the employment situation, the job market is very important because that's one of the main things that the Federal Reserve is looking at when it comes to cutting or maintaining a neutral stance on their interest rate policy. And so all that really matters from this is that this is going to cause volatility in the market. But again, it's 8:30, so who cares? We're not trading that. Now we have ISM services PMI, and so PMI is also an inflation gauge, and that comes out at 10. So that's going to be something that we want to pay attention to as well. So let's take a look at the charts and see what today looked like. So we had a huge rally today, which was actually pretty surprising to me. Usually when you get short weeks like this, short days, there's kind of just a lack of volatility. I mean, I guess we didn't have that much volatility. We pretty much just went straight up. But here's what I'll tell you is we're back at all-time highs on the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. So if you just look at this chart, it's obviously super bullish. I'm just going to keep buying this until it starts to correct and turn over. But for now, why would you be selling this? If we look at the 4-hour, same picture, like why would you want to short this? Hourly, look at this. So if we look at the hourly, clearly we're very bullish. Now, in addition to that, we don't really have any overhead resistance levels. So the closest thing would have been this morning, but we tapped that pre-market and reversed. And so to me, that level, whatever sellers were there kind of were used up. And so as we opened, we pushed higher. And then literally, guys, there was just nothing above. So the way I look at that is there shouldn't be any resistance. The market has a relatively high probability, relatively speaking, of just floating higher on low volume. And that's kind of what we saw here today. So the first thing that I look at is VWAP. Where are we in relation to VWAP? Well, we're trading above VWAP. Okay. Now, are the EMAs trading above VWAP? Yes. Okay, so what I want to see is I want to see this market open, and I want to see some bullish price action to the upside. And so this was supposed to be the easiest trading day ever, and I royally screwed it up on trade execution. And so I'm going to talk about what I did, my mistakes, and where I should have been better. And I did, there's a happy ending here. I did end up pretty much maxing out my profit, but let's see what happened. So we rally hard off the open. We clear this resistance area. To me, this is like an A+ setup. I'm looking for longs here. I'm very anxious to get longs. Now, I'm not going to just buy this because what's most likely going to happen is we're probably going to consolidate and pull back a bit, gain some more momentum, and then push higher. So I don't want to just buy the all-time high. And when I say all-time high, I mean the high of the day. Shouldn't have said all-time high. So what I like is I like a little bit of a pullback to now get long. That's where I want to be getting long. And so what I did, I screwed this up. First of all, I didn't get a candle that I liked entry-wise here. And so I flipped to the 3-minute and I really kind of just forced something. And, where I get sometimes mentally is, okay, it's a short day. There might not be that much opportunity. I want to get the first thing possible. And then that, in addition to the fact that this actually was an awesome setup for my playbook, made me a little anxious and I kind of screwed up. And so not only did I screw up the actual trade, but I also screwed up the order entry in a big way. And so what I did is I'm trading multiple accounts on a trade copier. And so I trade 3 minis on the NASDAQ because I'm trading an eval right now and 2 performance accounts. And so here's how I screwed up. Not only did I take a poor trade, but I also didn't check off the trade copier. So I took 3 minis on my PA, which pissed me off so badly. So I took this, I got long here, stopped below here, like a moron, and got stopped out immediately. And so I was like, okay, whatever. I lost 18 points, whatever it is. But then I look and I lost 18 points on 3 minis. So I lost like 800 bucks. I was so pissed. And so obviously not happy, but um, I was still really confident about the trade. So we came down to the open of the morning. And so a lot of times people will use this as a level to just say, okay, are buyers really getting overtaken by the bears, or is this just a pullback for a move higher? And so this is usually a good mini support level, and you can see that it holds pretty well there. Now, that at this point, the high time frames are very bullish. I'm looking to get long. The medium time frame, or the intraday time frames, the EMAs, the VWAP, all telling me to get long. And then we hold the support level, which makes me think that we're very likely going to push to this high at least. And once we get here, we can evaluate if we're going to push higher. And so sometimes I'll cycle through these time frames, the 1, 2, 3, and 5. And it kind of gives you the same view. There's not a huge difference between the 1 minute and the 2 minute, as you can see. But I really just use candlestick analysis for stops and entries just to kind of give me a gauge. But when I look at the 5 minute here, this is like the perfect picture for my playbook, my strategy, what I like to look at, to tell me, okay, this is where you want to be getting along. Now, I could enter here and I could say, okay, here's my entry, here's my stop, but that's a 27-point stop. And so that's a little big for my liking because I like to trade for at least a 2-to-1 profit. And so then I'm looking at a 50-point target. I don't really feel comfortable scalping for more than 30 points. And so what I was doing is I had all of the gauges. I had all of my, um, all of my, I guess, confluences or whatever you want to call them, all of my clues telling me this market's going to go higher. But this is where I screwed up. So if you go into Trade-Evate, you can set risk statistics or risk settings. And so if you guys follow my videos at all, you know that I have a daily profit target of $600 because the consistency rules with Apex are that you can't make more than 30% of your payout in a day. So if I take $2,000 payouts, 30% of that profit is 600 bucks. So even if I have a trade where I have 5 more points on target, I'm just going to have it auto close me. But what I also have is I also have a daily stop loss of 500 bucks. And so I really shouldn't lose more than a couple hundred bucks, 2 or 3 on any of my trades. So if I lose 500 bucks, I'm really screwing something up. And so this auto closes me. And anybody who's getting into trading or interested in trading, and you're a beginner, this is one of the best things that you can have because it's kind of just like a slap in the face or like a automatic reset when you're kind of getting on tilt. And so this is like a reset for me. And so what happened was I blew through my daily loss limit on this 3-minute trade because I was trading 3 times the size I usually trade. And so I didn't even realize it. But when I went to get long, I had to adjust this. So here's one of my gripes with Trade-Evate. It saved me today, but this isn't like a fail-safe. So on Ninja, you can set this and it locks you out of your account until the close of the market, which I think is better because there are times where I'll come in here and I'll go like this, check it off, and we're ready to rock, So what it at least does is it at least gives me like a break from the tilt. Like at least I can come in here and say, oh shit, I have to manually reset this. And that at least makes me like think clearly again and say, okay, what am I doing? Is this the right thing to do? Where am I? Essentially. And so what happened was I reset both of these. But if you notice what happens, when you reset this, it goes, I left this on 0. And so this is so stupid how great of a price action day this was for me and how poorly the execution was. But what happened was I accidentally set my profit target goal to 0. So I'm sitting here and I don't even know it. And so I'm sitting here and I'm waiting for an entry candle. Bang, there it is. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to get long here. And I get long here with a 2 lot. And so I get this long and I'm like, all right, we're going to go for these highs. 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. And like immediately it gets closed after like 10 points. And I'm like, what the hell? Why did it just close? And so I look and it's because my profit target was 0. And so when I got back to break even for the day, it closed me out. And so now I'm all pissed. I'm like, dude, what the hell? This is just the worst trading day of my life so far. And so in my head, I'm like, all right, I'm going to get long and just continue this trade. It'll end up being the same risk to reward at the end of the day. And so I get long, I put 2 more minis on here and it pulls back 10 points like immediately. And so now I'm really pissed. And I end up just holding it. Look, we end up trading higher. And on this candle, it blows through my actual profit target of 600 bucks. And so I end up making $850 today, which we'll see if that comes back to bite me when it comes to consistency rules with Apex. But here's the moral of the story with this trading day. Number one, the high time frames were super bullish. This gave me a ton of confidence looking to get long, right? And then when we look at the hourly, obviously this is bullish. And then when we go to the intraday time frames, this pullback here, this rally test of this 8 EMA and this strong candle close with this bottoming wick made me super confident that we were going to trade higher. And so, I mean, man, there were some points left on the table. And once I get off of these constrained Apex rules, maybe I'll look to add in some runners, maybe add to longs as these pullbacks start to get held and I see buyers continuing to push this higher on high volume. I don't know. I mean, for now, even if I held it this whole way, all it would have done is screwed me because I wouldn't get my payout accepted. So here's the moral of the story is I got too distracted this morning. I was at work and I had an early thing that I had to do and I was kind of just back and forth doing other stuff and I wasn't paying attention and I just made one little error. I didn't click that little thing right there. I had it was unclicked, and so I put a 3 lot on this, and it just absolutely screwed me. So anyway, here's the good news, here's my account value. I got a $2,000 payout yesterday, so it reset me to about $5,300 of account value, but now I made $850 today, so I'm back at $3,800 of profit. So hopefully in 2 weeks, I'll get another $2,000 payout. But I guess there's no but there. The moral of the story is my strategy worked very well today. My playbook worked out. It was a great trade. I just screwed up the freaking execution, but I made up for it. So hopefully this video is helpful. I'm trying to be as transparent as possible for you guys. I don't think there are too many other people on YouTube who are this transparent. If we look at the performance today, you can see that exactly what I said happened. All right. Performance is not loading. Let's try one more time for you. So you guys see I'm not BSing. Whatever. It's not loading. I made 848. That's pretty clear, right? So hopefully this video is helpful for you guys. Hopefully you guys learned something from this channel. And honestly, at the end of the day, I don't really care. I'm doing this for me, which sounds selfish. Whatever. Cry about it. I don't mean to say cry about it. That sounds mean. But I'm doing this for my own trade logging purposes. I want to get a lot more consistent in my trading. And so this is, to me, the best way to log my trades is to talk through them as if I'm just talking to myself. And, if any of you guys like the content that I'm putting out or want to learn more, like, subscribe, message me in the comments, and I'd be happy to chat about this stuff. So thank you guys for sticking with me, and hopefully you found some value out of this video. All right, have a good day, guys. Have a happy 4th of July, actually.